Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/malicious compliance. Daycare wants my office to park in our reserved spaces while they use ours too. We did. Been waiting for this one. My partner and I own a small 8-person company that shares a building with only a daycare. Our company consists almost exclusively of higher-level professionals, a couple lawyers, CPAs, etc. So most have their own large office, plus a couple common areas, conference rooms, a nice kitchen. All in all, it's about 3,500 square feet, which is obviously a lot for 8 people, but necessary for our line of work. Due to the size of the office, the lease has a parking provision which grants us exclusive rights to all 24 parking spots. This is somewhat important to the story, not our work. We only need 8+ clients. Also, important is the daycare's parking lot only consisting of about 10 spots in front of the building. The parents would use our lot to drop off, as the daycare's lot would be mostly full with their staff's cars, and even some of their staff would park in our lot. I didn't mind at all. We had over a dozen empty spots each day, and it was nice to have the mostly happy children around in the morning/afternoon. Until a month ago. I started coming in a bit later at the same time as the daycare drop-off. Our lot was crazy, with parents and kids walking and parking, so I used their lot like they have done with ours for years. First day, no issue. Second day, the manager saw me get out and gave me a piercing stare. A week later or so, I did it again. And my car was towed. Not a warning or a word from the manager or anyone at the daycare to me or our office. I went to the daycare to ask if they knew it was my car. It is a very distinctive old blue truck, and if some kind of mistake had been made. The manager came out and said it was not a mistake. And in a very rude, demeaning tone, her exact words were along the lines of, "Unfortunately, we can't have the liability of non-staff and parents within our lot. And I'm sure the parents don't appreciate having to walk further either, or an unknown adult like you in the lot." She looks me up and down, and I'm a totally normal-looking 30-year-old male. I think. At least. "Don't you have some reserved spots in the back? You should really park there and let us park here." With an eye roll, she walked off. I was happy I held my tongue in front of the children, considering how fucking angry I was, knowing it was not the time for that conversation. A couple days later, I told the manager, while we were outside the office, that I wished she would have come to me before towing my car and costing me $600. Asked for an apology, and said since we share the back lot and the parents take up almost all of our spots in the morning and afternoon, can I park in the front lot the occasional morning the timelines align? She flatly said no, and basically gave me the same speech she gave last time, at least not commenting on my appearance this time. I left things for a week, thinking it over, until again I had nowhere to park one morning, having to wait 10 minutes for parents to filter out of our lot, lest my car be towed. And who do I see but the manager getting a spot in my lot before me, even. I decided to comply with the manager's wishes then and developed a plan. I contacted the building owner and said, or more accurately, lied, that due to compliance reasons with a state license we're applying for, we need to have a gate installed with employee/guest pass access only on our parking lot. Our company would of course cover the cost. The same day approval from landlord, installed 2 weeks later. I drove in early that first day after install. I tell you, the mayhem was worth it. Watching from the corner window gave me a perfect view of it all. It started with the daycare staff pressing all sorts of keys on the gate to try to get in, trying to park where they have for months, years even. Then their lot filled up completely. Parents started arriving. A staff member had to stand at the gate telling parents there was now no access. Their parking lot was basically congested with parents double parking, taking their children in. Other parents parked a quarter mile down in another lot at the park our office overlooks. I eventually went down to give the manager a nice little wave. and walked back up to my office. She gave me a piercing stare that just made me grin ear to ear. I guess she sent the owner a rather angry email about parking rights of the back lot afterwards, and how it's crazy one small office gets the entire thing. Apparently, she did not know we had all of it. He said him and I may have to discuss the parking provision in the future, and he also did not know the lease gave the entire back lot. But it's not a big deal to him. Not sure why he let me put the gate in. Regardless, I still have 2 years left on my lease with another option to extend an additional 5. So no plans on moving anytime soon from the office or my 24 parking spots. P.S. It's an office building next to a park and residential homes. I am in no way endangering these children since they now walk through a quarter mile of grass and playground to get to daycare. There's not even a street to cross from that lot. If anything, I made the days of the employees and parents better in retrospect. Actually, not sure employees can park in the playground lot for that long. A quick back and forth in the comments that helps add additional context. User Renos131 comments, "Why wouldn't OP just have the daycare employees' cars towed out of their lot rather than spend thousands of dollars on a fence?" The OP who cross-posted this from Malicious Compliance states, "OP's reason. I'm fine with losing $600. I don't know if someone else is. I know she's not the owner, so she probably doesn't make a lot. This was kind of fun for me with too much time on my hands and money to spare in our slow season to make someone have a headache who isn't a kind person. But I didn't want to financially hurt someone." So basically, OP just aimed for the joy of inconveniencing the hell out of someone and not putting them in a financial bind. Which is, honestly, admirable and perfect. It is also just mildly humorous that the manager now has to explain to the owner and everyone else why the fence was put up. "Oh yeah, the building next door? I had his car towed, so they put the fence up and blocked off the parking spots that are technically theirs." And then the question gets posed, they've been letting us use their parking spaces for the past couple years and they use ours a couple times and we tow them? Like, there's just no way to come out on top here because no matter what, you just come off as the asshole. Especially when OP literally made the offer of, "Hey, when I arrive, our parking spaces are full. Would it be okay if I parked in your lot for 10 minutes? Just while things cool off, then I'll move my truck back into our spaces." That was an offer OP gave, but no. Can't have any of you sketchy type people around the daycare. You know, lawyers and CPAs. God, what a way to learn that you don't have access to any of the parking spaces you thought you did, and you just were an asshole and towed your building neighbor for no goddamn reason. Cross-posted from r/parenting. My son cut contact due to his stepfather. I divorced my ex-husband when my son was 11 years old. We had 50-50 custody. I remarried to my current husband 2 years after that. My current husband and my son didn't get along, to say the least. Even when I was dating him, they remained aloof with each other. My son was anxious in interacting, but was still respectful towards. My husband saw dealing with my son as something he signed up for if he was going to continue to be in a relationship with me. My husband still kept his distance from my son. Things got worse after we got married. My husband would avoid my son when he came to visit. He soon started criticizing him and became harsh with him. It could be occasionally getting a snack from the fridge without asking, or sometimes forgetting the lights on of his room. He said I should cut down my visitations with my son. I asked him, why does he hate him? He said he doesn't hate him, but dislikes him. He hates the fact that he's introverted and awkward. My husband said it's already enough that he tolerates him. He kept antagonizing my son. He would say things like, he should get a job during high school, cause he's going to be out of the house at 20 at best. I always stood up for my son and admonished my husband in private and told my son not to take it seriously in the heat of the moment. My husband laid off my son when I got pregnant with our daughter 5 years ago. By that time, my son felt alienated. I admit I always prioritized my relationship with my husband over my son. I made more effort in spending time with my husband than my son. Whether it be doing our daily Friday date nights, going out as a couple only every other weekends, we did more couples-only vacations in a year than family vacations, not including the occasional weekend getaways. I understood this made my son feel second place. But my son didn't understand that he'll eventually start a life of his own, but my partner is still going to be with me. Yes, I could have spent more time with him, but no parent is perfect, and it's always a struggle to keep a balance. My son has become distant from me and focused on his studies more. That paid off at least, since he got a huge scholarship for our flagship state university. He relied on student loans to pay the rest of tuition. He cut me off the day he was supposed to come back from winter break. He cut me off by email. He wrote this: "Dear Mom, I don't want a relationship with you anymore. Your love holds little to no value to me anymore. I didn't resent you for divorcing Dad. I didn't resent you for finding love again and wanting to get remarried. However, these past years I've learned an important lesson. I've learned that the relationships one holds onto plays a role in their identity. You can't say you love me more than anything in the world, yet love a man who treats me like an unwanted burden. I resent you for making him my stepfather. I resent you for making me treat someone who hates me being around like an authority/parental figure even though he hasn't earned it. I resent you for always choosing him over me. Don't call me anymore. Don't visit me. I have a great life in college with new friends. I guess I'm not the weirdo with no friends at the shit stain of a human being who you call your husband anymore. And I still have a dad who loves me. Goodbye forever." That message still haunts me. I tried calling and he blocked my number. When I attempted to visit him, he wouldn't let me in his dorm and finally threatened to get a restraining order. That's when I backed off. My mother, his grandmother, is the only connection I have to him and my sister's Facebook. My mother was the one who told me he was double majoring in mechanical engineering/physics, and he was currently doing a PhD in physics in an Ivy League. My sister allows me to log into her account to see pictures of his life. When I see his graduation pictures with only his dad invited or pictures of his friends, I just burst into tears. Can I still get him back? No. Also, the sentiment of, your son doesn't understand that eventually he'll start a life of his own, but your partner is still going to be with you, that's a bullshit sentiment. You can have whatever life you want to have with your partner once your son moves out, but while your son's still living with you, that's your responsibility. I personally can't fathom loving someone who doesn't love my child. That is an active choice that OP made here. And the son cutting contact? That's just the result of that choice. And the results of that choice are exactly what you asked for. Your son has a life of his own, and you have a life with your husband. It's what you wanted, and it's what you got. You ate the Nature Valley granola bar in your bed. Now lay in it. Cross posted from Best Of, and it was posted and collected by Direct Caterpillar 77. Their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. Original OP is Throw RA So Disgusted, posted at r/relationship advice April 24th, 2021. My 18 female boyfriend and his friends, 18 and 19 male, played a viciously cruel prank on an older couple who has lost their cat. Obviously, I'm breaking up with him, but what else can I do to make this right? I've been with my boyfriend for about a year. We're both honor students who are graduating in about a month. He's a good guy, and we were going to try to make it work, even though we're going to different out-of-state schools. However, he has a group of friends, and when he's with them, he does very stupid things. He was out with them last night, and he called me and told me he was at Purple Heart Park if I wanted to come see them. I live about a block away in Rita, so I told my parents, and they were fine with me going. When I got there, they were like rolling on the ground. They were laughing so hard. I asked them what was so funny, and they wouldn't answer. Then one pointed to an older couple who was walking around with a flashlight, calling the obvious name of a pet. I could not figure out what was so funny about that, but as the couple came closer to us, they said we needed to leave. When we got in my boyfriend's car, they absolutely lost it with laughter. I asked them what happened, and maybe 30 minutes prior, one of them had spotted a missing cat poster and called the number and lies, and told the owner that they had spotted the cat in Purple Heart Park. I instantly knew the poster since one was on our mailbox and they had been there for maybe 6 weeks. In Tucson, we know when a cat is gone that long, a coyote had gotten it, or coyote. I wanted to throw up. This was so cruel to do to those poor people to give them hope like that. I demanded to be taken home that second, and he did. I didn't say a word to any of them, and I hate that I even know this happened. I'm going to break up with him, but what else can or should I do to make this up to the poor couple who is missing the cat? I'm devastated with guilt that I know something about it, but don't know what I should do. I can't ask my parents because I'm afraid my dad will actually beat the crap out of them and risk losing his job. He's such an animal lover. Top comments. Curious Cat 55555. To back you up, I can truthfully say that there is no way I could continue seeing someone who not only did something like this, but laughed and laughed about it afterwards. Disgusting. No wonder you're so upset. I feel for you and wish you and the cat owners all the best. User Solitary Tea Party comments. What a cruel thing to do. To be clear, you don't need to do anything to make this right, as you were in no way involved. I don't think it was technically illegal, but very scummy. You could communicate with the couple on an anonymous phone call or letter, only if you want to, and tell them what happened. Or you could tell your social group why you dumped him, and let it spread, though that could cause trouble for you in the long run. Whatever you do or don't do, I'm glad you aren't staying with someone like that. Best of luck. Update, April 28th, 2021, 4 days later. So I posted the original on Sunday morning after it all happened, and here it is. So basically, breaking up with my boyfriend was an easy decision, and I did it over text. He said that, after a year, he deserved better than a text breakup. I said, after what I saw him do on Saturday night, he really didn't. He tried to say that the prank was not his idea, and I really needed to cut him some slack. I said that maybe it wasn't his idea, but I saw him laughing just as hard as his friends, and that was enough for me. He's been a total shit at school, but it's turning on him bad when I explain to people why we broke up and who he was with. A guy who graduated last year who is such a creep. What was harder is what I should do with the people. I saw two choices as I saw it. Either not call and let them have false hope that the cat was still alive, or call and let them know they had been pranked. Basically, after thinking about it all day, I decided that if it were my dogs in question, I'd want all the info I could get. I was so nervous calling them, but the lady answered, and I think I said I had some information about their lost cat. She basically stopped me and said that it was a miracle, but their cat had been turned into Pima County Animal Control 2 days prior, and they had finally gotten a return on the chip. And they called them that very morning, and they had just gotten the cat home. I was so relieved because I didn't have to tell them some awful news about how my boyfriend was a piece of shit. I was also happy for her because she seemed so happy. I told her I was very happy her cat was home and said goodbye. So that's really good news, and I'm happy to be rid of my idiot boyfriend. Honestly, good. The kids at the school should know what he's up to. Helps kind of weed this shitty behavior out because now he has to deal with the fact of, great, everyone at school knows that I'm a fucking monster. This is the kind of shit that he should be ostracized over, and he should pretty much have to deal with the fact of, now the entire school's ire is going to be looking at him as, you found it funny to prank an elderly couple to go look for their missing cat in the middle of the night? What the fuck is wrong with you? On a somewhat tangentially related note, I have at times wondered if someone in my audience has ever been the subject of a story, and I've just torn into them for several minutes straight. And I'm not talking about them posting something and me tearing into it. I'm talking about their friend or girlfriend or boyfriend posting something and me tearing into them. Imagine you're just on your morning commute and you just hear an explicit detail of fuck up from a couple days ago get broadcasted to a couple thousand people, and then just while you're driving to work, being forced to listen to some twink rip into you for no goddamn reason. I can just imagine the defeated, oh man. If that has ever been you, I hope that you have either been able to grow as a person or validate or vindicate your name on the internet and clear yourself. Cross-posted from r/legal advice. California. Grandmother gave my brother and me an equal share portfolio, each in the late 90s when we were kids. Brother sold his when they were worth a car. I left mine in, and now they're a substantial amount. Brother and his girlfriend want my half now. When my brother was 16 and I was 4, my grandmother set aside a share portfolio for us. As soon as we were old enough, it was transferred into our own accounts, and it was only 4 years later that my brother dipped heavily into his and bought a new Honda. I knew about mine for much longer than he did before it became mine, and watched it grow since I understood what it was. By the time I was given full control, it was already worth a ridiculous amount because a big portion of it was invested in Apple, and I'm torn on using the funds locked up as they are because Dad drilled it into me to leave it to grow until I'm 40-something. I don't talk much with my brother. He's done some stupid things to the family over the years, and I didn't really grow up with him, so all I usually hear about his life comes through Dad. His new girlfriend works in law, though, and I've received a formal letter from them both that the investments my grandmother made were designed to be for both of us to use, not just for me alone, and his was only around $15,000. The number is right, but mine was only worth that at the time he spent it too. They want half of the value of mine now, and his girlfriend has informed me if I don't give them access, then the legal fees and fines would eat up my half, and I'd be left with nothing. The dividends alone support a huge part of my life, and they've saved me a few times. If half of that disappeared, it'd set me back years. I know it sounds selfish, but I'm really used to having the extra income back me up when I've wanted to move. I've lived in 4 states by my own choice, and I want to move and take in more before I settle down, if I ever do. How likely is it that they'll win and leave me with nothing? As far as I know, there was no paperwork or will, just my grandmother's word. She set up my brother's accounts when he turned 19, but she gave them to Dad at the same time as my brother got his, and Dad transferred the whole lot to me 6 years ago. For my share, I have all the logins, the trading accounts, and bank accounts are in my name, and the shares are solely in my name too. Should I find my own lawyer? And if I need one, what kind do I need? I have an accountant that I've used for years, but this doesn't seem like an accounts problem, but a law one. Update. Roughly 30 days later. Good news update! Mostly good news. I worked with my dad and got my own lawyer. I got the timeline of my shares wrong, but it comes out the same. What my brother and I inherited from my grandmother was originally part of my grandfather's portfolio. He was the money-savvy one. My grandmother looked after those after he died, and she personally set up my brother's accounts and gave him control of his part. She didn't do the same with mine before she died. I thought she had already set the accounts up for me and given control to Dad before passing. Instead, the shares were in her will, and she left everything she owned to my dad with instruction that what was $15,000 worth when my brother got his equivalent part would go to me when I was old enough to know how to take care of them. There was no trust, she just trusted my dad. My dad did the right thing and set up accounts for me and gave me control 6 years ago. My dad put some of his own shares in too as an extra leg up. Dad admitted to me he chewed out my brother last year when he came to him asking for money, and Dad had supported him several times over the years and got to the point he'd had enough. My brother found out I still had my investments because Dad had used me as an example of how brother should have been using his money. That's how my brother found out I still had shares, and they'd grown. According to all that info, my lawyer tells me I'm in the clear, but it's not going to get to the point of finding that out in court as my brother's girlfriend was only a legal secretary. I say was because the firm she worked for apologized and informed my lawyer she was terminated immediately. The letter I received from them had been edited to put her name in a position higher up than it should have been, and some of the contact information had been changed. A week after she was fired, my brother visited me, begging for money. His girlfriend is in serious debt, and she took a chance on scamming cash from me, and lost. I felt awful rejecting my own brother over and over, but if he hadn't involved his girlfriend needing an amount well into 5 figures, I might have given him some. The next morning I found all my tires had been slashed. Screw him, I don't feel bad anymore. The rest of the comments in the previous thread made me realize I don't know nearly enough about what I'm doing with the shares and dividends and money in general. A lot of the decisions I've made have been with Dad's help, and his advice has paid off well so far, but not because I knew it would, but because I had no idea what I was doing and left it up to him. I've booked in to work with a financial advisor to make the most of what I have. Thanks for all your comments. This one's just layered with consequences, from liquidating your portfolio early in life for a Honda to your girlfriend fabricating essentially a legal letterhead in order to threaten your brother so he'll give you shares and money. And because he didn't immediately turn over and go belly up, a lawyer ended up contacting the firm your girlfriend was working for, and oopsie whoopsie, turns out she fabricated a letterhead. And yeah, now she no longer has a job, and she doesn't have a way to pay off her debts. And now the brother is at your doorstep begging for money. I honestly can't even imagine being in the position of, hey, I know I just tried to scam you and scare you into thinking that you might have half of your life savings removed from your possession and given to me, but could you please help me out a little bit? Like, you just threatened me, and now you're groveling, huh? Seeing this whole fiasco, I'm kind of wondering what the brother did to burn the bridges previously. Cross-posted from r/relationship advice. My, 29 female, girlfriends tricked me into breaking up with the one that got away, 30 male, 8 years ago. I have an opportunity to reconnect with him now. Should I? I knew Bo, not real name, 30 male, since we were both 11 years old. We both grew up in a small town, and our families were neighbors and became very close friends. We were the next door neighbor, best friends that started dating in our junior year of high school. He took me to prom, to homecoming dance, and we both picked a college that was in the state that had majors we were both interested in. Him, I, our families, friends, our preacher, everyone expected us to get married when we went off to college. The college we went to was 3 hours from our town, and it was closer to a major city in our state, about half an hour from the big city. And it was a bit of a culture shock for the two of us. Bo had issues at first making new friends, but I sort of jived with the gals in class. My new friends didn't think much of Bo. They kept telling me I could do better than Bo. They thought Bo was slow-witted. He's not, he's just shy with new people. They thought he was too religious. He was never in their faces. He asked only once if they could recommend a church in the area. They said Bo would just pull me back down to our small town, anchor me with children, and we'd both be stuck as Hicks. It reached the boiling point on my 21st birthday. 2 of my girlfriends came to me claiming they saw Bo cheating on me. They were stone-faced. They kept to their stories. And I foolishly believed them. I confronted Bo and started screaming at him. Bo didn't apologize. He didn't beg and plead. Instead, he got cold and mad. He said that he never trusted my friends, that they were playing me, and he thought I was better than this. I didn't believe him, and I let him walk away. He promised that if I took their word without even looking at them critically, that we were over. And he kept his word. From that day, he wouldn't even look at me. He wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't acknowledge I existed. For the rest of college, he never dated anyone. He just worked, went to class, and graduated early. My friends, they set me up on a ton of dates. I had a bit of a wild college ride, something I'm a bit of ashamed of now, honestly. Once I graduated, I tried to establish in life, but my college friends, they kept just wanting to hang out, chill, or party. It honestly got tiring, and I couldn't believe I had the energy to do this for nearly 4 years while getting an education. It was when I was 23 that one of the girls called me a stick in the mud and said something along the lines of, "I can't believe we went through the effort of breaking you up with Bo if you were just going to become a wallflower." I couldn't believe it. She went into detail about how easy it was, and I felt disgusted. I didn't give Bo another thought after the breakup. I thought he was a cheater, and I told my family, who told his family, and it strained his relationship with his mom for many years. But after that point, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I told my family the truth about what happened with Bo. This apparently helped repair the relationship Bo had with his mother. Apparently, Bo's mom liked me quite a bit, and she went out of her way to sabotage Bo's relationships with any girl he brought over to meet the parents. My mom said Bo's mom did it very discreetly, but after finding out the truth, Bo's mom came clean, and Bo nearly cut her out of his life. She apparently begged and pleaded and was able to work from there. I have many unfinished drafts of emails to Bo, some saying I wish to catch up, others begging for forgiveness and pleading for him to come back to me. But any news I got on Bo after the blow-up with his mom has been sparse. Bo doesn't do social media, and I had no idea where he lived. I found out this year that Bo has been married for 3 years and has a 2-year-old son. He's moved back to our hometown, and I saw him at the grocery store when I went to visit my parents 2 weeks ago. He didn't see me, or at least I think he didn't. But there he was, with his wife and child, and I instantly felt a swirl of emotions. Jealousy, rage, regret, depression. Even now, seeing him with his full family, I still want to beg him for a chance, which makes me feel awful, but at the same time, I feel like I should at least say my piece. I talked to my mom about it, and all she said was, "The chickens come home to roost. Don't make trouble for Bo." I just know that if I can't talk to Bo one last time, I will regret it for the rest of my life. What do I do? Should I contact Bo? Edit to add, I emailed Bo last night. I'll put the content here. Hi Bo, it's me, Amy. I know it's been years since we talked and I wanted to apologize for how we broke up. I also want to apologize for how it spread back to our families. I now know that Tracy and Stephanie were hell-bent on breaking us up any way they could, and I can't begin to apologize for the hurt it has caused you. I'll be back in town in a few weeks and was wondering if we could have a coffee and catch up. I want to know what's been going on with you in your life. This morning, I got a reply from Bo. Amy, I want you to know that I have forgiven you years ago. I hope you're doing well, but I would have to say no to coffee or catching up. My wife and I have a strict rule that neither of us hang out with exes. I hope you understand. I tried emailing him to say he could for sure bring his wife with him, but he's not replied since. I guess you were right. There was no chance to reconnect. If Bo was single, I would have said give it a shot. But he has a wife and kids, and nothing healthy can come from that. Even if you did just want to reconnect as friends, I don't know if that would have been a safe or healthy option, especially because when you saw him with his wife and kids, you felt nothing but rage and jealousy and all of those negative emotions just swirling around inside of you. That's not good. In the end, you made no effort or attempt to hear Bo's side of the story or listen to what he might have to say, and instead you believed your college friends. You believed them to the point where you allowed their influence to spread back to your families, to spread back to his mom in such a way where she actively went out of her way to begin to try to sabotage his relationships. It's kind of crazy how much damage two college girls can cause by just trying to get their friend to be more party-like or whatever the hell their plan was. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.